Okay, so let's build up the barrel first of all. That's this part. Now, a couple of things to note as I've taken the barrel off itself, and I've got to say there were only a very little seam line running down it. It's a one-piece barrel here, so not having to get two bits sandwiched together, which actually I thought there probably would be. But talking of barrels, I actually noticed there's another one here on there on the sprue, and also other parts for other versions of barrels, as well as 3 different mounting plates. So we've taken off the one that we're going to be needing, and there was also 3 different turret parts that the actual gun barrel will come through as well. So obviously what they've done here is got 3 different versions. So no doubt Airfix will be releasing different versions, different slight variations down the line, but that little sprue there had 3 different face plates on, 3 different mounting points for the barrel, and various different sort of barrel options. You can see that yeah, I think Airfix have actually done a little bit of future proofing when coming up with this Cromwell. But doing the versions there, talking of other bits as well, when I've done the review I saw the poly caps and just naively assumed that they were going to be for the wheels, and then actually when I was putting the, I haven't actually done the wheels yet, but I did notice that there was no poly caps. You wouldn't need poly caps on these, the wheels just go directly on. But then I've just noticed that actually poly caps are actually needed on here. So what that would do is that would provide the friction fit for the barrel, for the main gun, to pivot up and down. What I have done, just to get ahead of things, I have actually put them in the little mounting bits there, and for that I actually used super glue, just some regular cheap old super glue, just because with the Tamiya extra thin, with these being, well, they say poly caps, I've got to say they are more plastic than rubber. They're not like that black rubber sort of poly caps that you might be a bit more used to with the Tamiya kits. But yeah, just put them in with a little bit of super glue on there. So what we'll do now is build up this little barrel section, and then that will be ready to go into the front of the turret. So we're going to build this part up first of all. This has a little machine gun that also comes through. And that has got a little pin on it, just to make sure that goes through the correct way. Again, almost took it off when sanding, but there's a little location pin just to make sure we get that the right way round. Position and then drop the glue in. We have our machine gun coming up the front, and then this part sort of locks it in by the look of it. Which way around? Okay, this is kind of keyed, but kind of isn't at the same time. Following the instructions, I'm doing that the wrong way round. No, I'm not. Because this one's got an extra little notch, which appears to go on that side. That is not going to go. But put it that side round, and it just falls in nicely. Okay, was that my mistake? That might have been, yeah, that was me holding the piece upside down. Apologies, Airfix. Okay. I'm glad I checked and didn't just continue to attempt to keep forcing that in there. So this is the part that will then go into the poly caps. We can just pop that in now. Oh, okay. Okay, I should have waited for that to dry a bit more by pushing. That wasn't. I'm just taking that out. Oh well. Okay, let's get that barrel in there, and that just is keyed. So actually, I say keyed, it's just one line across, but we might as well put it in so that the ejection pins are at the bottom. Just want to put a good bit of glue in there. So even though I sanded it down, pop it in. There we go. And whilst we're at it, we have got a little end cap as well. It's got some little location bits on. Make sure they're the right way up. Let's see, I feel like I've just missed a little bit there. Okay, so we've got the barrel together now. These go on this way round, so it should be a friction fit. Just trying to pushing just the actual sort of bits together. What a mistake I made just now was to grip that bit and push against. So how close do they need to come in? And that should come through there. And which way up is that? Okay, you can see that that's still going to need to be pushed a bit more. Those little holes we got there, guides, I think we can just push down like that. There we go. And that should, even then, can that go any more? No, I've pushed that down as far as that's going to go for now without snapping it. I think I want to get a good bond going on here. So I'll make sure it's all level, so I'm just going to get a bit of that in just to get that going. Run it around. And this part is going to, it seems a little bit odd as to why they've sort of make this bit up and not build the turret and then do this, but I'm guessing it's to make sure that if you do this bit now, you can put it aside and make sure that glue is all properly dried, because although that poly cap is going to give you a bit of friction to it, you're going to want to make sure that those are properly dried on. So once that turret comes together, you're not really going to have much room, if you move it and one of those brackets fails, you're not really going to have too much you're going to be able to do with it. and a bit more of that around there, and I'm hoping that the capillary action should hopefully just be pulling that in. In fact, what I will do is get a couple of reverse action tweezers. Maybe put those on there, just to really hold those in and sandwich that in, and let's come off, keep the pressure. Keep the pressure on those. I think that's actually just going to, I think the best thing to do is just going to leave that. To yeah, put some of those, that on there, that on there, and just to really make sure that goes off. We'll just move the position because that was pointing down. At least, which way is it going to be? Which way is which way around does it go when it goes in? So that will be that way up. Okay, so you might just want to raise it so it's just pointing up a little bit more. Okay, so there's not a huge, actually if I move it from the back, that's actually a bit easier. So we don't actually have a huge range of movement in that. It's not as much as I expected. Yeah, not a huge amount of change in elevation there. Okay, clip those back on, and I think the best thing to do now is just going to leave that, make sure that's all gone off, then we'll work on the turret and get all that going in, knowing that that is then actually all solid. Now we've got the barrel in. I've got to say, although we put the polycaps in, there's really not much in the way of movement, and whatever movement there is, it doesn't stay, even when pushing at the back, just to ensure there's no undue stress leverage. There's you can see there's a little bit of wobble. Just if I do that, yeah, that's about the maximum range of movement, and it doesn't actually want to stay in any of those positions. It seems like this back plate really is pressed tight up against that sort of front plate there. So fortunately it's in about the angle that we're going to want it, but I don't really see the point of those polycaps if that is so tight against there. That's going to be restricting movement. However, we now can get on and build up the turret. So that should be quite simple, putting the plates in. I've gone around, sounded it off, and also drilled out the little holes there, making sure that as I'm doing option A, I've got the right holes in there, which are for the outer storage bins that are out on the side of the turret. So this should be quite a simple process just to get this built. I say quite simple, that is when we can get things going wrong. And it looks like we build this up, then we put that front piece on, so I actually could have done that. Actually, although there's the lip for it, there's no sort of real location tabs, so that will just slide up and down. So I think it's going to be a case of putting the, holding it into place, running a bead of glue down, and probably just building up, and then maybe having to do adjustments on the fly, so work round. Okay, well that actually gripped that quite quickly. V27, I've obviously taken them off the sprues, but it should be quite easy just to make sure I get the right ones. Actually, I'm thinking as I work my way around, it will be a little bit easier, because then I'll have be able to connect them at the sides. So, that's a bit fiddly. Maybe if I just try to probably just run a line down there. Just to get it going. Actually, I was going to do the side bit. There's obviously a bit of a gap in there, but what I'll do is I'll just work my way around, just in case any of them need budging around. That'll be a bit easier. Then I can go on the side walls and neaten them up then. So actually use the same technique there. So just run a bit of extra thin down at that lip. I mean, what would have been useful was if one of these parts was kind of keyed just to kind of get it into place. And then you've got some, a datum point to work off of. Actually, there's a little bit of a gap in that one, so maybe notice I just had a little bit of a gap in the corner, just looking from the bottom. So once these go in, secure, or at least sort of like tacked in place. I think those side ones are coming out a little bit. Yeah, the first ones I put on weren't quite right. I'm going to have to bend that off. See, that's the good thing of just doing it along the bottom part. If I had actually done the sides, which I was going to do, that would have made that a lot trickier. But yeah, because there's a little notch just in that rear corner, that corresponds with a little notch just on that side plate. That's better. Okay, so I'd actually start, when doing it, start with one of these shorter parts and just get that into the corner, and from there work around. What that does mean though is these parts, these side longer parts, very slightly, are just you can just make out are just not sitting quite flush with that, which it does appear to be on the instructions should be sitting flush. However, when I put that one on start flush, it pushed it a bit too far back at that end. We'll get a bit more glue on just to make sure that they're now in place. So I just run a bit more around the insides, then do the side wall joins. We'll do it from the inside and the outside. These essentially were slabs of steel, reinforced, or well, say reinforced steel. These slabs of armor steel, which weren't necessarily chamfered or didn't have beveled edges, You're more just sort of crudely butted up against each other and welded into place. Especially it looks like on that rear part. My brush is getting the glue. I need to extend it a bit. There we are. So you might be able to see just there how that is actually sort of kicking out a little bit further. I think that's actually meant to be the case. Will do. Let's just drop that on just to make sure. Oh, that actually goes inside. Ah, right. I thought that went on. That actually will go down in. I'll do that now in that case. That was a bit bizarre. You can see the whereabouts it's meant to slot in, but it's not wanting to slot into the grooves that I can see. Is that it? Did that just click? Okay, as I said that, there was a clicking noise, and now it did. We'll get the glue in here first, at least the parts we can get to. What I could always do is just use some of the Ref contact adhesive with that sort of, with the Ref one with that sort of needle type applicator, and just squirt a bit of glue in, but run it around here just for the minutes. Definitely worth making sure that you put this top plate on whilst you think you've got those side walls lined up, but before the glue actually cures on that, so you've got a little bit of play just to get that in place and make sure it is all lined up. So I'll just put a bit of pressure on all 5 points there, just to let that bond, and then just for extra security I'll flip it back over and just put a few blobs of, I don't have to be neat with it at all, but a few blobs of the Ref glue just on the inside just to hold that together. And I've already taken the next parts off and filed them down. So we've got detail parts here. It seems to be put the detail bits on, then add that front part on with the actual gun barrel, then a few more detail parts, then more detail parts on it. I'm wondering whether they say just go onto this bit now, knowing that if you go from there to there, by the time you pop those bits on, it will just give that all a little bit more time to dry just before you go and start trying to manhandle the gun into place. So I will follow the instructions, because that's quite a good idea, because if I start trying to wedge that on now and for some reason it doesn't fit, it could then pop one of those out, and then I've got more hassle trying to fit it all back in again. We'll just check whether it is actually a clean fit. Yeah, it is actually quite a clean fit, although saying that, because those are protruding, you can see we have got a bit of a gap going down the bottom. Now actually I was thinking that would be quite easy to feel, however that's going to be sat right on there. There's not a hope in heck of anyone actually being able to see that gap there, but it does illustrate why when you start putting those sidewalls on, I started without flush to the top, so I wouldn't have had a gap line, and it would have actually been pushing those out a place further back there. However, on the top and the sides, it does actually fit well with equal gap all around, so that's a little odd. Okay, well, let's pop these little bits of detail on there and then put that on. Now we have a few more parts to go. So we've got two storage boxes and mounting brackets, and those only actually apply to a version, which is what we're doing. Options to have hatches open or closed, and again, there's, if you have them open, there's other little parts that go on the inside. Now we've just got the final few parts really to go on. So the bits in the next part, which is part 22, which is to go on the turret, I've just put here, just roughly lined up whereabouts they will go. And then part 23, which is a few other little hatches. To be honest, they probably could have done it all in one, but it would have been quite a busy part in the instructions. I've taken off, and all those parts I've just filed down. So now it's just going to be a case of putting them on. I will have the hatches in a closed position. If they were to be open, you'd be putting on these extra parts which go inside, which is the extra padding, and you can see they've got the handles on there. And I guess what you could do is have them so they're open and have it so you've actually got someone standing up in there, you know, coming out. It genuinely did cross my mind to do that, and I did actually find some figures for it, and I and ahed, decided actually I'm just going to go for it closed up, just with some of these hatches which we've already done, just maybe slightly ajar, just to add a little bit of a slight interest to it, so it's not completely buttoned up, but these main hatches will have them down. I did notice as well that this part here, which actually we'll get on and put on straight away, as I had to drill some holes out for it to go on, and I noticed that I'd actually missed out one of them, but it turns out I hadn't, because then looking at it, there's only actually 3 pins on there, so it's a way of just keying it to make sure it goes the right way up. we've got a few other details to go on here, which we haven't put on yet. With those are the sort of smaller parts, which won't be going on until after it's painted anyway. Of course, that will be going on. But of course, next section is going to be doing the wheels, painting them up, and then of course, you know, the painting and the tracks. But for all intents and purposes, yeah, that just sort of clips on. We can see that we're now at that stage where we now actually have a Cromwell Mk.IV, okay, without any running sort of wheels, but the main detail, main parts are all done there. So yeah, I think next session, get those wheels done, and then we're really going to be on to the painting, building up the tracks, getting it done. So if you haven't already, make sure you hit subscribe. Do give it a thumbs up if you like it. If you don't like it, then just let me know why so I can improve it. That's probably the best thing to do. I do appreciate it. Have fun. I've been Rob. Look forward to seeing you soon. Happy modelling. Take care. See you soon.